Thank you for joining today's session. We'll be getting started shortly. We want to give everyone a moment to log on and get connected so that we can dive into today's session. I'll give folks one more minute before we get started. I do want to thank you all for joining us today. I am Brianna Armstead, and I'm here with the New Jersey Economic Development Authority. Today's session is an informational overview on the Route 80's Business Assistant Grant Informational. A quick housekeeping note, we do suspect that many questions will be answered in today's presentation. However, you are able to write questions at any point during the presentation using the Zoom Q&A feature. This is one of your Zoom command options and will allow for us to make sure we are able to get back to you and let others see those questions and answers as well. Yesterday's session was already recorded and is posted on our NJEDA and YouTube pages. The slides and other resources will be available in the next few days. Now, to get us started with the presentation, I will shift things over to Managing Director of Portfolio and Customer Relations, Patience Purdy.
Hi, good evening. Thanks everyone who's joining us. We're here to talk about, and to give you information on the Route 80 Business Assistance Grant Program. Next slide, please, Jake. The Route 80 Business Assistance Grant Program is an emergency relief grant program to provide short-term financial support for small and medium Morris County, New Jersey businesses affected by the Route 80 closures. It is emergency funding. It's meant to get into your hands as quickly as we can get it there. And it's open to businesses and nonprofits with up to 50 full-time equivalent employees, a commercial location in Morris County, New Jersey, and you must have suffered a negative financial impact as the result of the closures. The grants range from $1,000 to $15,000 based on your revenue loss and your number of full-time equivalent employees, as recorded or reported on your Q4 2024 WR30s. Next slide, Jay. Again, grants based on businesses' negative financial impact and number of full-time equivalent employees. A full-time equivalent employee is a calculation that is done. And if you go to our webpage and pull up the FAQs, the NOFA, or even the one pager on it, you'll see a link there to a full-time equivalent employee estimator, as well as the one you see that's highlighted in green here. Click on that, you'll enter your employee information. Keep in mind, these have to be WR30 employees, and that will push back to you and let you know what your full-time equivalent employees are. Don't worry about it too much. We are going to be receiving that WR30 information directly from the Department of Labor, but we do ask you to let us know. The bands of funding range from businesses with 0 to 5 full-time equivalent employees, and a maximum in that grant funding of $5,000. Businesses with 6 to 20 full-time equivalent employees, a maximum of $10,000. And businesses with 21 to 50 full-time equivalent employees, a maximum of $15,000. Your estimated revenue loss, which is the other factor in determining what your grant is, will be based upon your 2024 annual revenue and your first quarter 2025 loss. And that's something that you'll tell us and certify within the application. Grants for this program can only be used to pay for working capital expenses. Working capital expenses include inventory, payroll, mortgage, rent, utilities. So lots and lots of things. What they don't include are construction, remediation, things like that. Those are capital expenses and not working capital. The eligibility for the program, again, businesses and nonprofits that meet the following eligibility requirements. Up to 50 full-time equivalent employees based on your Q4 WR30 filing. You have to have sustained a negative financial impact of $1,000 or more as a result of the sinkholes. You must have a physical commercial location in Morris County, a point of sales. It could be a warehouse or manufacturing, but it must be a physical commercial location. It cannot be home-based businesses are not eligible. You must be registered to do business in the state of New Jersey at the time of application, as evidenced by a valid business registration certificate if required. So that's something that, again, you'll find a link to if you go to our webpage and look at the information on the program. There's a link to how you can get your business registration certificate and see it. If you do have questions about whether or not you're fully and properly registered, we suggest you go to business.nj.gov or call 1-800-JERSEY-7, and the New Jersey Business Action Center can help you through that process, help you get into the Premier Business Portal and see it, that everything is done and that you're registered appropriately. You must satisfy the New Jersey Department of Taxation's requirement that you have no tax that's due to the state. So that's considered tax clear. And again, you're going to certify to that, and we're going to have that information from our sister agency at Treasury electronically. You cannot be on the exclusion list at sam.gov, and you must be in good standing with whatever relevant agencies your business interacts with, mostly labor, treasury, and taxation. One application per EIN. So good to know. If you're a business that has 5 locations and all of your businesses file under that one EIN, then that collective is your number of employees. That's also your revenue. If you have multiple locations and each one of them has its own EIN, then we will look at each one individually. Next slide, please. Ineligible businesses, landlords, home-based businesses, gambling or gaming, adult purveyance or conduct adult activities, services, products, or materials, auctions, bankruptcy sales, transient merchants, Christmas tree sales, any activity constituting a nuisance or illegal purposes, and any business that is licensed as cannabis licensed or certified. Next slide. You must be able to answer yes to the following questions to receive funding. Do you have a physical commercial business location in Morris County, New Jersey? Did that physical commercial business location sustain a revenue loss? And was that revenue loss in excess of $1,000? Was your business in operation on December 1st, 2024? And we'll ask you to certify that you're aware that landlords, real estate holding companies, cannabis licensed, home-based businesses are not eligible. So you'll be asked all those questions on the application. The application is very straightforward. We're going to ask you a lot of questions. You're going to give us answers. You're going to check yes or no. We're going to ask you about your revenue. We're going to ask you about your losses. We're going to ask you what type of business you have, whether you're a sole proprietor or an LLC. We're going to ask you for your EIN. Everything we ask you is really almost 100% top of mind for a business owner. So it shouldn't be anything that you have to scramble to find. And we are not going to ask you to upload any documentation. Businesses whose applications are denied will have the right to appeal. Next screen, please. Okay. Very important. The application will open on Tuesday, April 22nd at 10 a.m. The application will initially open for businesses in Morris County within a 5-mile radius of the exit 34 closures. These zip codes that you see in front of you are listed for that 5-mile radius. You've got almost a week to prepare. There's not a lot to prepare for. Make sure you know your business well. We're going to get on to, in the next slides, probably the most complicated part of the whole process, which if you follow the instructions is not complicated at all. Should funding remain after we close that first round will close at 5 p.m. on April 28th. Should funding remain after that, we're going to open back up at 10 a.m. on April 29th for businesses within a 10-mile radius. Again, must be in Morris County and then within a 10-mile radius of the closures. Those are listed, those zip codes are listed there also. Now, if you were within 5 miles and for some reason you didn't get in from the 22nd to the 28th, you're still within 10 miles. So you can come in and apply during that April 29th to May 5th window, because it's those zip codes and all previously eligible zip codes. Should funding remain at the end of that, that opening window, then we will open up on May 6th for all Morris County, New Jersey businesses, and that window will be open until 5 p.m. on May 9th. Those remaining zip codes are listed at the bottom also. And again, that would include all previously eligible zip codes. You can only apply one time. So once you've entered your EIN and you've submitted your application, we have it. And you can only apply during for one application per EIN. Here it is at the bottom. We encourage anyone applying to go to the NJEDA Application Center, which the website is listed below, programs.njeda.com, prior to April 22nd, and either create a new username and password and register if you've never been there before, or if you've been there before, go in there and make sure that you know your username and password so that you won't have any trouble on April 22nd. If you have applied with us for most programs from, I guess, 2020 to today, if you've applied for anything, a grant, a loan, whatever it may be, you likely will have applied through this application portal. If you applied for COVID funds from us, you will have applied through this application portal. But just in case you don't remember, we're going to go through the steps for that one by one, which I believe start, Jake, on the next slide, if I'm right. Yes. So this is the front page of the NJEDA Application Center. The address for the application center is listed there. You don't have to remember that or write that down. If you go to the program page on our website, there's a link to it. We also suggest you go to the program page. You're going to see, rather than just hear, all of the information you've gotten in the past 12 minutes. And you'll be able to print it out if you like, and just make sure that you're up to speed on what to expect. So once you get there, in the top right-hand corner, you can either sign in if you've been there before, or you'll click sign in. And when we get to the next page, here is where you'll enter your username and password. Now, if you haven't done that before, there's a button at the top, above the red language, that says register. And if you've never done it before, you're going to hit register. If this isn't your first time, but you're like, oh, shoot, I don't remember my username and password, you'll click on the button that says forgot password username. And Jake, if you go to the next page, we're going to start walking you through how to do that. Notice that on every single page at the bottom, we have given you our phone number. If at any point during the process of registering, re-registering, forgetting your password, whatever it might be, you get confused or something goes awry, please call us. We're open from 9 to 5 from Monday through Friday. We are closed this Friday for Good Friday, but we will open back up at 9 a.m. on Monday. So here you would, I forgot my username and password. You're going to click on forget password. It's going to take you to the next box right there and ask you to enter your email. Now, that email will need to be the same email that you used when you created your account. If it isn't, and you ask us to send it to you, we won't recognize it. We won't be able to send you your username because we won't have found it in the system. So if you enter an email and you click send and 5-7 minutes go by and you haven't received something from us, please give us a call, because then we can look you up in our system in a couple of different ways and help you out. Otherwise, you're going to hit send. And on the next page, Jake, we're going to show you that we told you we sent you the email and we're showing you the email. Within the email is your username. Big arrow pointing to it right there. That username is blacked out. but very helpful if you've forgotten both your username and password. We're going to tell you your username, and then you're going to click on the blue that says reset password, and we'll see more of that on the next page. You'll enter your new password, you'll confirm your new password, you'll click reset. It's going to tell you your password was reset, and you're going to click sign in. And then you're going to be back on the application page, and you're going to be all set. Now, on the next page, this is step one if you'd never been there before. So as we pointed out, there was a sign in, and then we pointed out where you would click register. So if you look at the NJEDA Application Center box in front of you, it'll say sign in, register, and redeem invitation. You're going to have clicked on register. You're going to enter your email, your username, and your password and confirm your password. Write down your username and password. I know we all say it. We probably all have a million of them. I know I have a million of them. Please write them down, because logging into this application center is how you're going to apply, and having that information in our system is how we're going to get in touch with you. So click on register and then next page. And we're going to set up your profile. So you're going to enter your information, your first name, last name. Your email will be pre-populated. Confirm that. Just take a look at it, make sure it's exactly right. Your phone number, your organization name. You'll notice that the only two things that are required are your first name and your last name. You don't need to put in a title, organization name, or website. Just your first name and your last name. You don't need to put in your phone number, but please do. That way we can call you if we need to, if we have a question about your application. You'll have your email, and then you're going to hit update, and we're going to go to the next slide. All right, this is where it gets, I think for a lot of folks, a little, why do I have to go through all of these stages? Well, the reason we have to go through all of these stages is some of you may have done business with us before. Some of you may not have, but once you're in our system, we don't want to duplicate you in our system. So we want to make sure, and our back end controls are checking against everything you're entering in to make sure that we're not duplicating you in our system. So you're going to see a spot that says confirm email. You'll get a pop-up that says we've sent an email to you to confirm. And then you're going to get that email, and you're going to click on complete registration. While it seems like a lot, it really isn't. And it all goes pretty quickly as long as you just pay attention to what the instructions on the screen tell you. Now, if a whole bunch of people are doing it at the same time, maybe it takes a minute or two for that email to get to you. Again, if it's 5 to 7 minutes and you haven't gotten that email or things aren't going well, call us. Our customer care number is at the bottom of these slides. It's on almost every page of everything. At least we hope it is. But if you are wondering, take it down now and give us a call, and we will walk you through and help you get through anything that you need to. Next slide. Okay. If this is the first time you're registering and a box pops up that says the email address is already in our system, that's what I was saying a little bit before, meaning maybe you did business with us before we had this application portal, or with a product or program that didn't require this particular type of registration. In that case, your email is in our system and we know who you are, but you still don't have an application center account. So you're going to say, oh, you know who I am. All right. Now that doesn't say you already have an account. There is a pop-up for that. If you enter your email in a first-time registrant and it says you already have an account, then maybe you forgot your password and you're going to do that. In this case, it's just saying we have your email address. And that could be for a number of reasons. Maybe you called to ask for information on one of our products, and one of our customer care reps took your email information from you at that time, because we track all of that. Anyway, whatever the reason is, you're going to click OK. We're going to go to the next slide. And we're going to send you an invitation. So you click send invitation. And then again, for this one, you go to your email. In your email is a link. You click the link. We go to the next slide. After clicking the link, it's going to ask you to sign in with the invitation code. That's already pre-populated for you. You're going to hit click, and then now you're going to enter your email, your username, your password, and you're going to create your account because you've done it with the invitation code, and we are attaching this account to the account that we already have in our system. So that goes back to step 2 on slide 7. We don't need to go back to that. I think everybody can understand it. These slides in static form are on the website, and the webinars will be there too. And again, I think the most important thing to remember is please call us if you run into any trouble. The application itself is going to be so straightforward. We don't want you to get stuck creating an account on our application center. And I think, Jake, that might be my last slide. Yep. So at this time, we'd like to answer any questions that anyone that has joined us tonight may have.
Yeah, so at this time, I don't see any questions in the Q&A chat box. There was one, but we answered that already. So if anybody has any additional questions and wants to ask live, please utilize the raise your hand feature, and we will ask you to unmute and ask your question. Heller, I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Heller, I think you're still muted. I think you can click unmute.
If you're unable, feel free to ping me, but I clicked ask to unmute. And if not, feel free to also type it in the Q&A chat box. I see somebody ask how to get this PDF. Patients, will this be available at some point besides, it'll be posted on the webpage as well. I know that.
It's already, the webinar will be posted on the webpage, but the presentation slides are already on the webpage. So if you go to njeda.gov, you should see Route 80 Business Assistance Grant Program as one of the very first slides that you can, it's got like a carousel on the front of the website. It should be the first one that you see. If you type Route 80 into search, you're going to be able to click on the Route 80 Business Assistance Grant Program, or if you click on financing and incentives, you'll get a list of programs, including the Route 80 Business Assistance Grant Program. So 3 hopefully very straightforward ways to get there, and these slides are there on that webpage.
Okay, thank you, patience. Gary V asked, how do you determine lost income?
So we're going to ask you about your 2024 revenue, and then we're going to ask you to estimate your losses for the first quarter of 2025.
Thank you. Gollum asked, when having 2 businesses that got affected, do I have to have 2 different logins, meaning for each EIN?
No, you don't need 2 different logins. So you will need to submit 2 different applications, but you can log in with the same username and password.
I don't see any additional questions in the chat box, and I don't see any other hands raised. So patience, I'm not sure if you would
Heller
like.
get a chance to ask his question in the chat?
I didn't see a question from Heller in the chat, but we can give it a few minutes if they still would like to answer, would still like to ask the question. They raised their hand.
Do we need to unmute? Is that something we do?
I've clicked it to ask them to unmute, but let me see if there's another way that I can get them to unmute it. Or if they are comfortable, they can also put the question in the chat box. But they should be able to unmute.
All right. Well, we've got, so speaking of partners, we've got our partners from the Small Business Association disaster recovery team with us here tonight. And I'd like to introduce Tyshawn Powell, who will talk to you about what the SBA has to offer as well. I will add that at the in-person event in Wharton at the Municipal Center, Assemblywoman Dunn was there and noted that applying for SBA support also helps to define the level of impact that the closures are having on the businesses in that area. And just because you apply does not mean that you need to accept those funds. And I think Tyshawn can tell you a lot more about what the SBA has to offer.
Yeah, thank you so much, Patience. So first, I would like to thank the New Jersey Economic Development Authority for having us here today. And on behalf of SBA, I would like to offer our deepest condolences to any business that has been affected by this incident. So as you know, the SBA has established a declaration here, and in certain counties, due to the sinkholes that were formed in I-80, we are offering our economic injury disaster loans, and these loans are to help with working capital loss. The most simple way of putting it is we help businesses to stay in business. So these loans can be used for things like payroll, product loss due to shipment not being able to reach your business because of those sinkholes, customers not being able to reach your businesses, and different things like rent and utilities, anything that'll help your business continue to flow. These loans are up to $2 million, but if you're considered a major source of employment, then that loan amount can be increased, and that is a case-by-case basis. Once we get you down with one of our CSR, customer service representative, and you give them all your information, they'll let you know if you're able to increase that amount or not, or what you're eligible for. And our approval rates are simple. It's based off of credit history. And when we say credit history, we mean your credit profile. So we just take a look at everything that's there to help determine if you will be approved for that loan, and also how much you will be approved for. You will also need to show the ability to be able to repay these loans. And then the damaged property does have to be in the declared counties. The benefits to SBA loans is, of course, everyone knows we have low interest rate loans. And right now it's no interest or no payments for the first 12 months, and no prepayment penalties. So if you wanted to pay that loan off faster, or you decided you didn't need that money, you wanted to give it back, you could do that, and you wouldn't suffer any penalties. As Patience was saying earlier, we are urging businesses to apply, because even if you do apply and you get approved for the loan, you do not have to take it. And there's no penalty for you not being able to take it. But we do want you guys to apply because it's showing that there's a need for us in your community. So even if you don't want to take it, we can still get you applied and see what you can get. And you can make a decision from there. To apply, we do recommend you to visit our Business Recovery Center, which is located at Wharton Municipal Building. The address is showing on the title slide right now, along with all of my information. You can also visit our website at sba.gov/disaster, or you give us a call at 1-800-659-2955. I know I speak a little fast, so if you have any questions or you didn't understand something that I said today, please feel free to let me know. You can ask in this chat, or if you wanted to send me an email or even reach out to me, my contact information is right here on the title slide. But thank you guys for having me.
Thank you, Tyshawn. I see that iPhone has their hand raised. I'm going to ask them to unmute if they have a quick question for you.
Yes. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, my name is Vicky Chopra. I own a restaurant in Denville, and I missed the earlier part of the meeting thing. Is it the last quarter of the last year versus first quarter of this year?
So we're going to ask you for your 2024 revenue. What was your revenue for the entirety of 2024? And then what are your estimated revenue losses specific to the first quarter of 2025?
Oh, okay. Estimated loss. Okay, so you want an
Estimated
entire
loss,
revenue, entire year revenue, right, for 2024?
I missed the first part. I apologize. What did you say?
I say entire year revenue
Yes.
for 24, and what's
Yes.
the estimated? Okay. Because what I did is I got my quarterly for first quarter, and it's a significant, almost like 30% down. Okay, no problem.
Okay, and I see iPhone 6, and I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Hey, hello there. Does it work?
Yes.
There you go.
Okay, hi, this is Heller.
Sorry.
Oh, great.
Yeah, we finally got another computer. Okay, my big question is, Why are we restricting it to full-time employees? I run part-time people.
So we aren't restricting it to full-time employees. And that's what I was saying about full-time equivalent employees. So what
Okay,
you're going to do is you're going to take your WR30, your Q4 WR30 if you have it, or it's a calculation of hours worked and wages paid.
so it
So
doesn't
you would be
matter
able to
full-time, part-time, basically.
it is, yeah.
Yeah,
And
all
you're
right.
going to get that information directly from the Department of Labor, but we do ask you.
No, I don't care. Everything says full-time, and when you talk to the assemblyman, they go full-time.
It should say full-time equivalent, FTE. So that's
Yeah,
what
well,
FTE is, full-time equivalent.
thank God we don't do this on a regular basis, but we know things as PT. You know, in our world.
Sure, part-time,
Okay.
full-time, yes. I
Yeah,
got
yeah, it should be landlubber language, as I say a lot of times. Okay, and what's the turnaround time on this?
So with emergency funding, we do the best we can to get funding out the door as quickly as possible. The application opens on April 22nd.
Right.
So hopefully, goal would be to start funding within the next 2 to 3 weeks. It's going to depend on each individual application, right? If you submit a perfectly valid, everything's hunky dory, if you will,
Right.
application, then that's going to be quicker than someone who maybe submits something we have a question about and need to follow up with them.
Okay, all right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You want to listen more? No.
So at this time, I don't see any other hands raised. Jake, if you don't mind clicking over to the next slide. So thank you all for joining today's webinar. Please feel free to visit our webpage at njeda.gov for more information. And at this time, everyone have a good night.